Welcome to Reaching World Podcast, where we highlight the world's largest network of influencers for good, love, and service. Join us in saying thank you to these incredible individuals and organizations by listening, subscribing, and sharing their legacies. And by doing this together, we will help inspire others to leave their legacy of service and love. I'm your host, Zach Garner. Again, welcome to Reaching World Podcast. I am honored and grateful for you tuning in today. I hope you guys had a great weekend and you've enjoyed the episode so far. Our mission and purpose is to bring you great content, great value, and inspire you to help leave your legacy of love, find opportunities to serve others, and then also honor those who are out there doing good and making a difference in the world. I had a wonderful opportunity this last weekend to go see my younger brother marry his fiance in Oakland, California, and to see the smile and the way they were beaming all weekend was just awesome. That, again, motivated me to continue this work, to honor and feature those who are making a difference in the world, to inspire love throughout the world, because love is, not to sound like a hippie or anything, but love truly is the answer to a lot of problems out there. To gain a broader perspective on life, to help understand people, to give them the benefit of the doubt, and those type of things that will make a difference in how you treat people. So today's episode, we're honored to have Ali Goljahmofrad. He is a teacher, a coach, and he recently came out with a book. He has also been invited to speak at different TEDx events across the nation. So we are excited and honored to have him on the show. So we'll go ahead and jump right into that interview.
A little bit about me. So grew up, small town Idaho boy. And right after high school, I felt like I maybe wanted to go into education, but I also had an interest in the world of finance and accounting. I was just at a place like 26 years old with a secure future ahead of me. I could be making $5 million a year, but I'm freaking miserable every day. Then the fiance, who's now my wife, she's like she saw it too, because she knows what type of person I am. I'm a pretty upbeat, positive, happy guy, and she saw this was just beating me down, and I didn't love it. She's like, just follow your original passion of education. And I let her know, I'm like, listen, that suggestion you just gave me is going to cut our bank account in not half, not a quarter. We're talking it's going to be just a fraction of what I could be making. She's like, I don't care because you're not happy. I want the you. I don't want this unhappy accountant version of you. So I made the shift to education, and not to sound cliche, but the first day I stepped into a classroom, I was a substitute teacher. First day I stepped into the classroom, I was like, dude, this is it. When you know, you just know. And people have asked me, how do you find a passion, or how could you help me find my passion? I'm like, I don't know. Trial and error, I guess. That's how I did it. I didn't follow a process. That's where I find myself now. I'm in my 5th year of education, teaching high school math, some of which I never took, but I love the process of education. So we make it work, and I coach as well. And man, the other day somebody was like, if you could just snap your fingers and design your life, you could change anything in your life, you just snap your fingers and design it, what would it look like? I said, I think it would look like exactly the way it is right now. Right in this moment for me, I'm exactly where I need to be right now. And this isn't where I'm going to be forever, but right now it's where I find myself and it's where I need to be.
We appreciate you sharing that. I know there's a lot of students in your classroom that appreciate you being in the education system. Now, Ali had an opportunity to speak at a couple different TED events. Ali, will you share with our listeners a little bit about that experience and how it came to be and what you had to do to make it happen?
If there is anything worth doing, be it speaking at a TED event, being a really, really good father, being a really good asset to the company that you work for, whatever, if there's anything worth doing, there will, without question, be challenges. The timing for the TED event could not have possibly been worse. And it was in a different state. There were so many reasons that it would have been easy just to say, you know what, maybe at another event, maybe next year, I don't know, maybe some other time, but not now. But my wife and people around me are like, just apply, just do it, take it one step at a time and see what happens. And the other thing is, I was coaching with a guy that saw value and opportunity. So I was fortunate to be surrounded by people who saw the opportunity and were willing to help with the opportunity. So much so that I had to go catch a flight. I had to leave a varsity soccer match at halftime to go catch my flight from San Antonio to Idaho. That's all leading up to the event, but it was a unique opportunity because it's I think it's like a 10 or 11 minute talk that I gave. But Zach, I can't even tell you how many hours. I'm not being facetious. Hundreds of hours, like so much prep, so much refining, and there still could have been more refining. Anybody who puts anything online, you know that it's going to be up there forever. So even though it was only 11 minutes, it was worth the investment of all that refinement.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, Ali, go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit about your book that you recently wrote, what motivated you to do it, and the good and influence that your book is generating in the marketplace.
I knew that if I wrote a book, that when I market myself as a speaker and I market myself as an author, people are going to take me more seriously, because when you do certain things, like they just want to see that you're capable of accomplishing certain things before you get the key to do other things. So same thing with the TED event, with writing a book. Those things are just, I guess maybe you want to call them qualifiers. So at any time that I've had opportunities to speak to sports teams here in San Antonio, or classrooms or organizations, I actually just got my first paid speaking engagement a few weeks ago. Now I'm able to, I'm not saying it's the right way, because I don't want it to sound like in your introduction, people are like, oh, he wrote a book. Oh, he gave a TED Talk, so that's why you should listen to him. But somehow that validates, because doing those things requires a certain amount of work.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about your book, The Golden Connection.
Yeah, so my book, I wrote it last year, got published in December, and I really wrote that book kind of because I've never been an academic and I've never been considered a smart person, and I always thought smart people write books. But then one day I was like, man, I have life experience, and I feel like I have life experience that is of value for people, not for everybody, but for somebody. So it would be a disservice if I didn't put some of these things down. And so that's why I wrote the book. But it's called The Golden Connection, how your relationships will make or break your success. People talk about the prize is in the journey, not the destination. And it truly was, because writing the book required so much discipline, saying no to certain things to finish it on time. So that was just a really unique experience. And I'll say this, Zach, you, every single listener, every single guest you have on the podcast, everybody needs to write a book, because I truly believe that everybody has something for somebody.
Ali, go ahead and tell our listeners where they can find your book.
So my book can be found in one of two places, Amazon.com or my website, aligoljahmofrad.com. It's better to order it off of my website, because I personalize every book that's ordered from my website. If it's ordered from Amazon, it comes straight from them. But they can find it on either of those websites.
Ali, would you mind sharing with our listeners one piece of advice you would leave with organizations or individuals that are struggling to find their influence for good, or what they could do in the marketplace today to change the world in their own little way?
As far as my piece of advice, I'm going to steal this straight out of the page of somebody that I've been able to connect with over the last 2 years. He makes music for Eric Thomas and Associates. Eric Thomas is a motivational speaker as well. They travel the globe speaking to organizations, universities, sports teams. And a guy named Toby Nwigwe, he makes music for Eric Thomas's music label. And I met him a couple years ago, and I asked him his one piece of advice. I said, if you'll never see me again, what is it that you're telling me? And I was actually holding a book. He took the book out of my hand, and he wrote inside the cover, "Find your purpose and die empty." That second part, die empty. Like, everybody talks about purpose. Everybody talks about passion. Everybody talks about, that one thing that you're supposed to be doing, which frankly I don't believe in. I don't believe there's just one thing for everybody. But the second part is die empty. Like, bro, give it everything you freaking got, because as cliche as it sounds, eventually your life clock will hit zero. And the reason why this comes to mind, like a year ago almost to the day, I was hit by an 18-wheeler, and I'm not kidding. I had 3 or 4 seconds before impact, and I've not once in my life have I ever thought I was going to die until that moment. And I thought right in that moment that this is it. If you are 3 or 4 seconds away from the moment that you think you're going to die, there's a lot running through your mind in that 3 or 4 seconds. And right before the 18-wheeler hit my car, I had 2 thoughts. One, I was angry that I wasn't going to get a chance to say goodbye to the people that I loved, my spouse, my family, my students. And two, I was angry that I was leaving things on the table, like things that I could give to the world, work that I could do. I was not dying empty. I was dying with so much more to give. And that was the definition of regret right in that moment. It's almost like I thought about, and I don't mean to demonize playing video games or watching movies, because I think there's a time and a place that we need to unwind. But it's almost like I thought back to all the time that all the hours that I wasted scrolling through social media, playing video games, watching movies, and just thought like, man, if I could just have that back, maybe then I would be dying empty. But right now in this moment, I'm not dying empty. And that's a really bad feeling.
That concludes our episode for today. Thanks again for tuning in, Ali. Thank you for your time. Be sure to go get a copy of his book found on his website or Amazon. These episodes will be launched on Mondays and Thursdays. And if you'd like someone to be on the podcast, if you think there's someone in your network that should be recognized for the good they are doing in the world, please reach out to us and send us a direct message. We can be found at Reaching World Podcast on Facebook.com. So be sure to find us there, like our page, and submit any ideas or suggestions of individuals or organizations that should be highlighted on this podcast. Now, to finish today's episode, a couple additional ads from our sponsors.
Are you a business owner that would like to maximize your staff or sales team's production and overall performance? Go to buildyourtraining.com and see how business owners are empowering their teams by digitizing a cloud-based training platform. Again, go to buildyourtraining.com to help unleash your team's overall potential and performance.